Okay, let's dive in. I'm Jeremy Greenbaum. I'm from the Wix Studio marketing team, and welcome to our live webinar, Join the Design Journey, Witness the Pros in Action with Wix Studio. We're excited to introduce you to the world of Wix Studio, the web creation platform built for agencies and freelancers, where you can deliver exceptional, high-quality sites in the most efficient way. The platform was designed with you in mind, covering the many layers of creating and managing multiple projects while maintaining quality. In a few moments, you'll meet our Wix Studio experts, the incredible Ido, who is a front-end developer, and Matanya, who is head of technical designers here at Wix Studio. But there's a few things we want to run through before jumping in. Many of you have already found the chat box feature. This is a great way to interact with each other and share thoughts as we go. I love the chat that's already going on, seeing where everyone's from and how everyone's loving Wix Studio so far. Would love to see even more throughout the webinar. But if you have any questions that you want answered by our Wix Studio experts, you'll want to use the Q&A box at the bottom of the screen. So just make sure you're typing your question into that box and not the chat box, so it doesn't get lost in the shuffle. Also, if you haven't already, please join our Wix Studio forum. We've got UX people, designers, product managers. They're actively answering questions, so there's lots of lively conversation and discussions to learn from and knowledge share there. Lastly, this session is being recorded, and we will send it to you soon for you to watch back and recap if you need. So no worries if something goes over your head or goes by quickly. You will have a chance to rewatch and kind of take it at your own pace. So enough talking from me. Let's welcome our Wix Studio experts, Ido and Matanya.
Hello, everyone. I'm Ido.
I'm Matanya.
We're basically from Wix Studio. I'm a front-end developer, but I actually started my journey at Wix as a technical designer, and I used to build websites and use the Wix platforms for it. Can you tell about yourself a bit?
Yeah, basically I run a team of technical designers. Part of our daily work is to build our own assets, websites on our platform, Wix Studio. And I continue.
All right. So here's what we're going to cover today. It's pretty basic. We want to talk about this session. This session is going to be a free build. We're going to build a design from scratch. The way we're going to do it is unrehearsed and unfiltered. We just saw the design today, so this is really fresh, and we might run into some mistakes, some glitches. But the point of this webinar is to simulate how would you work on Studio in the real world, and not showing some rehearsed happy flow. I think we're getting that the sound is distant. Maybe we can fix it somehow. I don't know. Anyway, you guys are free to ask questions as we go along. Feel free to put your questions in the Q&A, and Matanya will even interrupt me as I do the build, and it's perfectly okay. We like to keep this an open discussion. So we're going to do a build of a design, and if time allows, we'll show you some more extra cool features. So yeah, I think we can just jump in, right?
Yeah, it's in here.
All right. So basically, we are going to take a design which was created on a design software, and we are going to build this design in Wix Studio Editor. And we're going to do it as pixel perfect as we can. And we're going to show you how to take a design from a different software and build it and make it responsive. I also think that we're going to experiment with some cool AI layouting features. So bear with us. AI is currently in beta, so we might run into some interesting situations there, but I'm sure we're going to get to a great result.
And this design made by our amazing design team from the Wix Studio design team. And let's try to rebuild it.
Okay. So basically, I have Wix Studio open. And the first thing that I think I want to do is I want to go to my site styles and update some global styles for my design. So basically, we have this color here, this background color. I'm just going to pick it with the color picker that I have. And I'm going to go here. And this is usually the background. This global style is connected to the background. So I'm going to change it here. I'm going to paste in the hex key. And then I'm going to apply. And immediately you see, because these default sections are already wired to the site styles, then we can already see the color on the screen. We don't need a footer here. We'll just leave this header and this section. And if I take a look at the design, I want to be as pixel perfect as I can. I can see that my whole frame in its width is 1280 on 800. That means this header and this section is taking up 1280 and 800 together. So I'm going to work on a default editing size of 1280, meaning that if I measure some elements on my Figma file that have a certain width or height, then that will correspond exactly to the editing size that I have here. So let's say that perhaps if this frame here was 1440, then I would probably choose to have an editing size of 1440. All right. I'm just going to measure the height of this section first. So I'll just do that the old-fashioned way by just drawing some kind of rectangle here. And I can see that the section height is 712 pixels. So what I'm going to do here is, in the height of the section, I'm selected on my section. I'm going to choose a height of 712 pixels like this. All right. Another thing that I wanted to update is the text itself. If I choose this text, I can see that the font here is this Questrail font with a font size of 16. And I'm going to go to my site styles, and I'm going to go to typography, and I'm going to choose this paragraph here. I'm going to change the font size to 16 pixels, and I'm going to change the text to this Questrail font. You can also upload your own fonts to Wix Studio. It's not a problem. And then I'm just going to apply that. Another thing that I can do is I can connect the color of this text also to the global site colors. I'll just copy this hex here. And here in the colors, I'll choose this right one, which is connected to all the text elements. And I'll just paste it in, applied. And now if I go back to my texts, or sorry, to the typography sites, I can see that all of my text are wired to this color.
So question, even though you didn't even start to build any design, right? You first go to the theme and start to set some settings for the typography, the color. Why is that?
So basically, I don't want to, every time I bring in a paragraph or some element or add a section, usually I would want it to be correlating to my design system.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want to change that for each element that I bring in. So this is very like time saving for me. Also, if the elements are connected to the side styles, and say tomorrow I want to, I don't know, my client asks me, listen, I want you to make all the texts a bit darker. So I can go to the side styles, and that will be basically, I would change it in one place and it will go over the whole site and change it. And I wouldn't have to change it individually. Really. All right, let's take another look at this design. So first thing, I can see that I have some space from the edges of this section here to the content. And I can just measure this, and I can see that it's about 32 pixels of space here. So what I can do is, in order for everything to align to this 32 pixel of space, I could do it individually for each element, like set it 32 pixels apart from the edges, but that again wouldn't make sense because I want everything to align. So what I can do is I can apply some padding on my section. So I'll just go here to, with my section selected, I'll go to the position box and I'll add in 32 pixels. And I want on this side to add 32 pixels as well.
So padding means that.
So now everything that I put inside my section will, if I align it, then it will align to the padding.
So it kind of reduce from the entire width of section.
Yes, exactly. If I put in pixels in here, 32 pixels and 32 pixels, the padding won't change on resizing of the screen width. It will remain 32 pixels the whole way. We can leave it at that. That's perfectly fine. But you can also have an option to make it just by clicking on the unit here in percentage. And then what that means is the padding will be in percentage to the width of the section, and it will shrink if your screen size shrinks as well. So basically, we're dealing with responsive units when we're talking about percentage. Next thing I'm going to do here is I am going to add an element here, and I'm going to add this heading here, which is actually, we couldn't find the font for this, so we're using an SVG. But if you guys are building along with us and you want to create your own heading, you can use a text element, and it will come into the scale, the stage scaling proportionally. So basically, it's the same thing. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to align it to the left, and then I'm going to drag it out just like this. And then I'm going to drag it from the bottom until basically I reach the edge where it doesn't shrink. I think we're going to do it something like this. So basically, I'm pretty much sticking to my design. Next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to add in a paragraph. So I'm going to text, and then I'm going to choose my paragraph here. And
which is already inherit the font style, right?
Yes, because wait, I actually brought in a paragraph too. No. I just need to add a paragraph 1, and that will be the thing that I connect.
Font style and color.
Yes, right? And size.
And size, right.
So again, anytime I bring in a paragraph, I can do this. I'm just going to bring in the text here for this paragraph. And I'll paste it in. And I'm going to go to the design. And here in the design, I see that the containing box for this text is 407 on 168 in size. So that's exactly what I'm going to put in here. So I'm going to put 407, but you see that the height is disabled here. So what can we do to get the height that we want? We obviously see that the lines are not spaced in the same way as they are in the design. So I'm going to change the spacing here. So I'm going to go to 1.5, and then I can look and see that the height is updated to 144.
Which is still not
Still not exactly what we want. So I'll try 1.7 perhaps. And I still
What size
that
are we looking for?
we're looking for 168.
All right.
So let's make it a bit more. I would say 1.75, something like that. And we're exactly on the money. So we are pixel perfect.
So the height is disabled, but it came out from the amount of content that we have in the text box,
Yes,
right?
Exactly. All right. So next thing, I want to position this paragraph in a perfect way, in the same way that it is in the design. So let's just measure. I see that we have 192 pixels from the top and 292 pixels from the top and 88 pixels from the left. So what we can do, we can go to the position box here, and we can basically do 292 pixels. I can even type in pixels, and I can do 88 pixels. Now, these are basically fixed sizes. So we want to make this responsive. So I can go to the 292 pixels. Let's just demonstrate how this resizes now. So if I go here, we see that the section and the image, like the vector image, are scaling proportionally, but we see that the text is running away. It's from the top. That's because it is set in a fixed positioning. So let's go back to editing. And instead of it being in pixels, we can just click the unit here in the margins and set it to scale. And also here, I'll set it to scale. So we get this pixel asterisk, which means that this is a scaling pixel, which basically means that the distance here is 292 pixels at 1280 pixels. But if we change our screen size, this pixel will change. For example, if we now go to tablet, we're not seeing it reflected, but this here is not 292 pixels. It's just relating to that.
We select it.
No, it won't show here. All right. Next thing we want to do, we want to add in another text here. I'll just duplicate this one. And I'm going to edit the text and put in the word Y.
Where it should be located in the design?
So this text is located here. All right. So I'm just going to make it shorter, but actually what I can do, I'll just get rid of this pop-up, is I can set the responsive behavior here to be hug. And what hug means is that this will always take up the bounding box of the text, will always take up as much as the text is long. So basically, we cannot break here. So even if I'm breaking, you see, if I'm breaking my text, as soon as I let go of the mouse, it just goes back to.
And if you add more content?
And if I add some more content here, then you see that the bounding box is responding to that content. So I'm just going to position this here and just align the tops of the paragraph and this text here. All right, let's see what else do we have here in our design. So basically we have this another text. I'm just going to copy this one and I'm going to dock it to the bottom and to the left and maybe give it some space here. And I'll just copy the text. And remember, because I duplicated it, the responsive behavior here is hug. So now when I add in some text, the bounding box is going to respond to that. Cool. Next thing I'm going to add here is this image that we have here. So I see that the image dimensions are 408 on 204. So I'll just bring in the image, which I already uploaded here. Go to my media, and I have this image here. And now I can put in the pixels that are corresponding to my screen width. So it's 408 on 204. So I'll just change the size manually through here. And then I'm going to drag this to align with, I actually want it to align with the right side of this text. Let's see if I align it to the bottom, if this works.
Or you can copy same docking measurement from the text element.
Let's do that. So it's going to be 88 pixels, and it's going to be 88 pixels asterisk. So again, we want that scaling pixel. So now it's perfectly aligned. Let's just check out how this behaves in terms of responsiveness. So right now, everything is supposed to be scaling proportionally, and we see that it does
perfectly. So I can see that you're working only with pixels with asterisk, right? But in terms of building, you copy same values from the design file and put it in the editor, and everything like automatically scaling down.
All right.
And because you don't need to deal with calculation and layout tools at the moment. Right?
Because by default, every element that comes onto the stage comes with a responsive behavior of scaling proportionally. So I don't have to worry about anything. I just put in the values as accurately as I can, and it just works out of the box. Of course, I can then later go to lower breakpoints and do some changes. Say I want to change the height of this section. Say I want to do some changes in mobile. I can very much do it easily. And of course, it won't affect the higher breakpoints that I changed. Let's just undo this. And now we can continue. All right, so what I have left here is I have to bring in another image here. So this image has to come in. I have the dimensions of this image. It's 509 wide on 591. So let's bring it in, go to my media, bring in the image. And put in the size. So it's 509 on 591, right? And I want to check also the distance of the image from the edge. And I see that the distance is 88 pixels. So again, I'm going to dock it to the bottom so it will align to the bottom. And here I'm going to put 88 pixel asterisk for this image as well. And again, I'm going to check the responsiveness. And we see that it's very responsive. All right. Next thing I'm going to do here, let's just add in, let's just duplicate another text here. So again, I'm going to take this text here and edit the text. And copy it. And then just paste in this text here. And what I want to do with this text is I want to rotate it. I want it to be vertical. I can do it by just rotating it like this. But what we need to take into consideration that doing it in this way sometimes acts a bit weird, because rotating it, it just transforms it visually. But in terms of layout, it still remains the same as it was. And if you can even see it in these dotted lines, you see that it's not reaching the end, because basically this element still thinks that it's horizontal and not vertical. So
It's only
this is fine.
painting it like differently.
It's painting it differently, and it's not really taking up that size. So that's fine if we just scale proportionally now. Everything will work, and it will work fine, you see. But if we start applying layout tools that you will see applied in a second, then you'll see that it's a bit more difficult. It's already giving me some issues here. And if I try to, for example, stack this, let's say I'll stack it horizontally, then I'm getting suddenly something weird.
Weird gaps.
But this is because the editor thinks that this is like a horizontal text.
The physical width of the element is still calculated as the horizontal width.
Yes.
Not the...
So happily, what we can do with this kind of situation, I'll just make this text back to be zero rotation like this. And what we can actually do is we can use some custom CSS that we can add to this tab,
which is new.
And this is a new feature in Studio. And I'm going to go to my code tab, and then I'm going to hit start coding. And actually, I'm going to show you like the mindset of how I would approach something like this. So basically, I can select my element here, and then I will go to CSS classes and add a global CSS file. And here I can create a custom class, which is called vertical text, which will apply to this element. So I'm going to create a vertical text custom class. And I added it to this one. And now I'll just delete this placeholders here. I'm going to add a vertical text. Sorry, I have to add dot because this is a class. Vertical text class. And now I'm going to search Google for how can I achieve a vertical text in CSS. So I'll just go here. I'll type in vertical text in CSS.
First result.
I think the first result, let's see. Yeah, this is the result I want. So I have writing mode and it's vertical -RL. This is exactly what I want to achieve here. So I'm going to go to here, and then here I'm going to do writing mode, and it auto completes me. And it also will autocomplete vertical. Is it supposed to be LR?
I think it's left, right, or right, left.
I don't think it will make a difference here. And as soon as I put in, you'll see that now the bounding box is correctly around the text. And we have a perfect vertical text right here. So I'll just move it to here. What I'm going to do here is I'm also going to dock it to the bottom because I want it to be together with this image. And then I'm going to multi-select the text and the image and just align the vertical centers here, just like this.
So the vertical text is perfectly in the center of the image.
Yes.
So we have a question. Why might you want elements to be anything other than scale proportionally?
Well, the answer is right on the screen right now. Let's take a look at how this section looks in mobile right now. So basically, all right, text looks good. The image looks okay. This image became a bit too small.
Yeah.
So, and the most important thing I think is the text here, the running text itself. This is practically unreadable. So, for example, one of the applications where you would want to mix scale proportionally elements with non-scaling proportion elements is where you have a design where you might have a big text which you will want to scale proportionally, but then the running text, you would probably want to leave it in the same size for all the screens, or at least limit it so it wouldn't shrink down under a certain size. And you can do all that with Studio. Let's see an example here of how we can do this. So, for example, let's say I'm just showing something. The text now here is set to scale proportionally, but I can also set it to be in responsive behavior of wrap. And now, when I resize, then I can see that instead of this text scaling, it is wrapping. All right, of course, this is not the desired layout that we want right now, but as a concept, we can use layout tools that will create a push and the relationship between the elements. So when one element is being wrapped or getting more rows, it will push the other content.
So, but can you combine wrapping behavior with scale text? For example, I want the text to be scale proportion, but no less than, for example, 16 pixels or 12 pixels. So once they get to the 12 pixels, they start to wrap it, right?
Okay, let's see how we can do that. So let's take this text back to scale proportionally. I undid the wrapping. So now we're back to a point where this text is scaling proportionally. What we can do here now, we see that the font size is 16 pixel asterisk. So that means that it is scaling. But then we can also set a minimum. So let's say I want the minimum here to be 13 pixels, right? So now what's going to happen is I'm going to scale. And as soon as this text, we can see it scaling. But as soon as it gets to a size where it's 13 pixels, we can see that it starts wrapping.
Yeah.
So that's amazing control that you can have over the sizing of your elements. All right. But I think we want to do something different here, right?
Yeah.
Let's make the AI take care of things for us. Again, this is in beta. We might get some unexpected results, but we're going to handle it bravely. So I'll just undo this menu.
So basically, you build your desktop as pixel perfect as you could, and now you said, "All right, I love my desktop, but let's give the AI to make my life easier and make the adjustment for me."
All right, let's do it. So I'm going to select the section, right? And then I'm going to use the responsive AI. So we get this prompt. As you can see, still in beta, but we're working on it, and it's going to get better and better. And we're going to generate. Wait for it to optimize the mobile breakpoint. So basically, AI works now on the mobile breakpoint. Let's see how it handles this. Working, relayouting things.
Stress.
All right, so now it has done relayouting. Before you apply the design, you can preview it. So I'll just minimize this window here, and I'm going to go to mobile to see what it did. And I see that we have something interesting going on here that we can definitely work with a few tweaks. Let's see.
But the general layout, it seems like it knows where to put the things. I mean, in terms of hierarchy. But we still need to fix some things like the Y.
Yes.
Why it's so narrow?
Yes, it's narrow. It isn't supposed to be narrow, but I think we can fix it pretty easily. So I'm going to unminimize this and apply this design. And let's see what we can do to fix. So basically, we see that mobile and
tablets, it's pretty much okay. Just
we have
the
some
Y
fixes here, yeah,
and the year below.
But let's see first mobile what we can do. So basically, what happened here is that Studio created a stack. It's a layouting tool between these two elements. And what we can easily do with the stack is we can just align the items, and we can make them justified across the width of the stack.
What it does, basically, it stretch everything inside its bounding box, which is the stack. So every element take the entire width of the stack, right?
Yeah. Let's do it. So I hit justify, and just like magic, it works. All right. Another thing that we can take care of here is this horizontal stack that it created.
Another. Oh, this is you create this stack. Oh
no, I did create it. The AI created it for me. What I can do is just drag here. This is what determines the space between the stack elements. So I'll just do something like this. And I want to make this picture, this image, a bit bigger. So I'm just going to drag it over here and just drag it down like this. We see we have some overlap here happening. Let's see why. So I'll just select the stack, and then I'm going to make it in the second.
And we see that we have a grid, right? Here, you didn't create this grid. Just I saw you have margins. So yeah, minus 400.
Yeah, we'll get rid of these margins here. And with a little fixing, it took some fixing, but I think we got there in terms of this image. Let's see what's going on here.
So maybe you have an extra padding from top.
Yeah.
Can get rid of.
So we'll change the padding here to 0. And
And the year below.
What we can do now, this is also a stack. We can change this from being a horizontal stack into a vertical stack, just like this. And I'll just make it stretched until the end. Let's see what happens if we justify this stack now.
Yeah, they fix.
And I want to make the gap here.
Maybe the image taller.
Yeah, and I'll also make the image a bit taller. Undo that for a second. Maybe if we do it through here, say, I don't know,
250.
Yeah. So this is still quite experimental, as you can see, but we got to a design that is really looking good and with some minor tweaks. And this is going to just get better and better because this is AI and we're always feeding it with data, and it's going to make the designs more smart, basically.
Yeah, and we need to fix tablet.
Let's see what's going on in tablet. So I think that in tablet, the thing that we need to do here, we can change the text here to be hug, right?
Right.
And
Same
also
here.
This one.
I think it's pretty good. So can you share? You need to publish. Let's
publish
see the publish version.
So let's take a look at the published side. So this is how our site looks like. I'll change just the proportions of my screen a bit so we can get a better look. And we want to...
Can you share the QR code so I can see it on my phone?
Where do we do that?
Yeah, here. Yeah. So you can also scan it to see it on your devices. Let's do it. And it's look pretty awesome.
Nice. So do you guys see it on your phones as well? If you do, you can write in the chat how it looks to you. Yeah. So basically, this is the build that we did here.
Yeah, I saw another question. Is why this big SVG is in percentage, but everything else is scale? And I think it's also scale, no? I mean, with pixel.
Yeah. It's scaling proportionally, and the width of it is 1216 by 339.
Yeah, same for.
The only thing that is not set to scale is the padding of the section. That's in percentage.
Right.
I'm not sure, but I believe this will also change to scale in a while. There's actually no reason.
The pixels with the asterisk.
The pixel with the asterisk. But using percentage here is fine. And also you can convert. All right. We see another question here. Do you have time to show assets and global sections? Yeah, we can talk about that. No problem.
Yeah.
So basically, you can save any element in Studio as an asset. So you can design once and reuse anywhere. So basically, Let's say if I have this section, for example, and I want to save it and as an asset, maybe I want to use it somewhere in a different site. Maybe I'll use it and change it up a bit so it will look
Can you
differently.
share it with others?
Yes, of course, you can create your own studio asset libraries and share them with other people as well. As for global sections, a global section is basically, we can find them here. It's basically sections that you can show on multiple pages. So say that you have your site header and you have 300 pages on your site. So it wouldn't make sense for you if tomorrow your client wants you to make a change in your site header. It doesn't make sense that you will have to go on 300 sites and change that for each page. So basically creating global sections lets you do changes in one section that will affect globally on all your sites.
So header and footer, I see here, it's a global section, but can I take this design, for example, and make it global?
Yes, of course. You can take any section and make it a global section. It's for section, header, and footer.
All right.
All right. I think we can take
The Q&A.
yeah.
Perfect.
You want to take it away?
I would love to. So we have a really great question, which I think is super helpful as we start to use Wix Studio more to kind of streamline the process of creating multiple sites. So is there a way to save the entire section for future use in another project or to share it with someone else?
So yeah, as I explained now, you can save the section. I can even show how to do it. We can select the section. We can save it as an asset. Let's call this fashion section. And we can add it to saved assets or create a new library. Let's just add it to saved assets now. And I'll add it. And if I open my saved assets, then I'll see this section. And this is an account, cross account thing. So basically, you can use it on any site that's on your account. You can also save it to a library and then share it to other people as well.
Well, what is the difference between saved assets to master sections?
So basically, a saved asset is something that you can pull and put inside your site, but it's not necessarily a global section. You can make it as a global section in your site, but you will need to resave it, like for being
So they are not connected. So once I took this design and put it in specific page, if I make any change to it, it won't apply to other element that I use for this saved asset. But masters, once I edit something,
Yes.
will apply across all pages that get this master.
Exactly. All right.
Great, good answer.
And I want to address a little question, in which why should we use, when should we use hug for text element?
Oh, so we can even maybe look at it in a new page.
Yeah.
Let's just add in a new page here. So as we saw, even in the page that we created, when we want our text always to be in the same, how can I say it? Like to take up the entire width of the text content,
right?
So that is where we're going to use hug. So let's say that I add in a paragraph here. let's just get to text here and add a paragraph. So basically now this responsive behavior of this paragraph is set to scale proportionally. And it's scaling, the text inside is breaking according to the size of its box. If I change the size, it's going to break differently. When I set it to hug, it's going to be the whole width.
So I think usually if you have a short title or 1-2 words, probably you don't want them to break, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's good to use hug because it's always be same as the width of the content. But if you have a long paragraph, probably don't want to use it because it will cause you like the bounding box of the text will be huge. Right?
Yes. All right.
Okay.
Questions?
Yes. So I know that you talked about different editing capabilities from your desktop to your tablet to your mobile. Is there a way to display a completely different image on mobile?
That's a good question. So maybe we can even show it, right? So we have this image here, right? Or I'll choose this one. And let's say that I want to display a different image on tablet, on the mobile. So if I go to change the image now, this is basically changing content, and changing content will apply to all breakpoints. So we can't really do that. What we can do is we can replace this image with a different image that we only show on mobile. Let's try and do that. So let's just bring in an image here. And I'm going to attach it here. And it attached itself to the stack. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make this image, I'm going to change it to hide. And now I just need to resize this image so it will be the correct size. Something like that. And I'll also change the spacing in the stack. Something like this. And maybe make this a bit less.
So you go to the specific breakpoints. You want to put like a new content, a new image.
Yes.
And you add it there. And you hide the element that you don't want to display, which.
And by the way, when I added this image, so by default, it's set not to display on the other breakpoints.
You show the layers panel.
Yes.
I think it will be more clear.
So when I'm on desktop, I have this image showing, and you can see that I have another image here, which is with this eye icon saying that it should not display. And also on tablet, it's the same thing. But when I go to mobile, I see that this image is now hiding, and now this image is displaying.
Right.
Great. And I think it's important to note the difference that you definitely want to hide the image instead of deleting it, because that would affect across different formats.
Right.
Okay, next question.
I actually see a question here in the Q&A. It's asking, is it possible to make a global header for mobile view only and not for notepad view only? I don't understand.
Like
that.
tablet.
Yeah. So the same way that I showed here that you can hide something in a lower breakpoint or higher breakpoint, you can hide things per breakpoint. So yes, you potentially can have two headers on your page and just make one visible for desktop, for example, and the other one visible only for tablet and mobile.
Perfect. If I don't work with a design file but build directly in the editor, what's the recommended width of the canvas to work on?
You want to answer that?
Yeah. So basically, if you work with particular screen width, so it's better to build the design in the editor and on same width of your own screen. Because when you publish the website and you go to the live site, you want to see exactly the same design as you build in the editor. So if you build it, if you build it in different screen size, so it's look a bit different than what you built.
I had a follow-up question for the question from before. So Treva asks if it's the hiding is in global. So can you make something hidden globally?
So it's specifically for that page.
Yes. So it's not globally. You can hide a section globally, but you can't go per page and hide that section.
Right.
Super helpful. So I think that's actually all the questions we have time for today. But if you have any questions that we haven't answered, feel free to go to the new Wix Studio forum and join the Wix Studio Discord community and ask away there. Our product managers will be more than happy to help you out. And of course, our academy is always there as a resource for you to get more information. Also, if you have any feedback, please let us know in the feedback form, which I'll paste now in the chat. Like we said before, there will be a recording for you to refer back to, and we'll email that to you shortly. Thank you, Ido and Matanya, for your knowledge and expertise. And thank you all. You've been a great crowd, and we hope to see you again at one of our future webinars. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.